Hi guys, and welcome to the podcast. You're here with the Beefy Sandwich crew. It's me, Andreas, and again it's with Wayne.
Yo.
And Tom.
Good day, sir.
Where today's topic of conversation, I suppose we should probably start with the fact that GTA is coming out tomorrow.
Oh shit, it's tomorrow?
Yeah, well, Tuesday. Time of recording is 2 days, but I mean, we'll edit that bit out. We won't edit that bit out.
I thought it was like a month away or 2 months away.
I
don't keep eye up on this bullshit.
It's true. But the thing is, right, is that apparently obviously the files got leaked online a little while ago, and somebody's been looking through all the files, and apparently the config files also let out the fact that there's a PC version and a PS4 version in the works.
Oh shit, son.
Yeah, and the Xbox and PS3 versions don't look as good as the promo videos that they've been showing for so long.
Well, that's just bad.
It's pretty bad. But, I mean, I suppose if it's going to be coming out on PC, it's going to be that sort of power.
Consoles are irrelevant according to Axe.
What company doesn't do that, though? Name me one video game trailer that's been available on all platforms that doesn't look better than it will ever look on the PS3 or Xbox.
It's like the whole quote-unquote scandal thing they had with somebody taking a picture of a PC running some of the demo stuff at E3.
Yeah, but that's
normal.
Though.
Yeah, that is normal, but obviously it's that kind of thing. Like, and a lot of companies really blur the line between pre-rendered and this is gameplay. It's like, yeah, this is gameplay because you've made this bit look really good. Yeah. The game will play like that, but it won't look quite that good. Especially because I think, as we probably said in one of the first podcasts, like, it's 7 or 8 year old hardware now. It's not going to look that rosy compared to a new console and a PC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with PCs, they've been continuously upgraded for, since you could buy one and almost instantly get something that's better for it, like a new graphics card or something like that. With an Xbox, it's almost as if it's just a solid. There's nothing you can change. It's all integrated. I mean, it would be, it would be nice. It's one day to have a console that you can upgrade to have a longer shelf span, but at the same time, it would be a case of it might as well like. The PC it would basically still be the PC.
Yeah, I think the difference is usually PC, if you have kind of the knowledge or you know someone who can help you build one and you have the money because they're more expensive, whereas console is a, hassle-free, cheaper version that will run everything for years and you don't have to worry about upgrading anything.
Yeah, the thing is I quite like that about the console though. It seems like that in the longer run, it seems that it's a more affordable option every 8 years at the moment. They have a new console. So you have, that gap. Whereas if you was like, my PC won't be able to run Battlefield 4 probably because, it's the Battlefield 4 takes up, looking at the recommended system specs, it's pretty much everything I have. Like if you're pushing it to the limit. And so it's like, I got this PC just over a year and a half ago now, and it seems like it's becoming redundant. To begin with.
Yeah.
So, I reckon consoles will eventually go into the whole upgrading system though. The biggest argument between console gamers and PC gamers is PC gamers will always say we can upgrade and that's it. And then console gamers are like,
we don't need to. We don't. But I think with console gamers is we can buy any game and get the full experience from it. I think a lot of it comes down to that. A lot of people think that PC games, it's all about the graphics. So it's a case of everybody wants to up their graphics, up their speed so they can play all these games. Whereas the Xbox, if you don't mind near the end of the lifespan sacrificing some graphics, then you can probably carry on going fine.
That's the thing. Like, I've met more console gamers that care about graphics than PC gamers do care about graphics.
Yeah, I mean, to me, a game isn't made by graphics. I still to this day play Deus Ex 1. It's one of my favourite games. Don't get me wrong, it could do with a new look of paint. It does look quite dated, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's out of touch with today's world.
Exactly that. But there's always been console gaming. Some games have sold on the fact of, hey, we have better graphics. People bought the PS3 even at the time. Some people bought it for the fact that they believed it had better graphics than the Xbox 360. But PC game, there's always going to be there's always going to be the people on the PC that are like, yeah, we have better graphics than you too. But it seems to be a lot less than people as far as console gaming goes.
Yeah, I feel like with the PS3 and the Xbox 360 when they first come out, the PS3 boasted that it had like this many processors. It has more processors than the Xbox 360. But the thing is with those processors, that you couldn't use all of them at one time. They weren't all powering the same thing. They weren't dedicated in any way. They all split between different things. And so it ended up being basically the same console anyway. With the PS4, it seems as if they're saying now that it's noticeably faster than the Xbox One, but it feels like at the same time that's the same thing that they said about the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And the Xbox 360 sold a lot more than the PS3. So it's going to be a toss-up between which console has the better exclusives, I think, at the end of the day. But, I mean, with graphically, I don't know what sort of stuff they're putting into it that can stand the test of time. Because, to me, these days, graphics are getting to the point now where I don't know if I really want better graphics in a game. I just want a decent gameplay. I want a big game world, and that sort of thing. But I don't really care necessarily about the graphic.
Yeah, I think because so many companies for so long have been focusing on, oh look, we've got these graphics, and then the next one they're like, oh, we'll write a whole new engine and add new graphics in, this, that, other. They've pushed it so far that, like, not exactly everything's fallen behind, it's just slightly neglected. So, that, like with Call of Duty, they probably have better graphics somehow, despite the fact it's on the same hardware and all that sort of thing. But the gameplay, they hadn't really changed much, which is probably one of the best examples of, we're going to make it look all different, but play the same. Whereas, I think that's probably a lot to do with, as well, the fact they develop for consoles. They're trying to squeeze as much like graphics power as they can out of the old consoles.
Yeah. I look at sort of like when they talked about the new Halo in the Xbox One conference, they were just like, oh, finally the Master Chief will be in glorious 1080i or 1080p, and it's just like, that's pretty much what everybody else has been on for so long. Because, I mean, Halo was on 720 for the longest time. It hasn't really upped anything. And it's just, but they've worked more on the game. And to me, I feel like the game is better because they worked on the game, not on the graphics. And, like, okay, fair enough, the new console, they obviously have to move up in hardware. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to spend too much time making the game look better, because the game looks good to begin with. I mean, Halo 4, some of the scenes, like some of the horizons and stuff look fantastic. But with, I just don't think that, like, it was always the gameplay that got me more than it was the actual graphics itself. So,
yeah, but it tends to come down to, a good game is a good game regardless of graphics. Yeah. But a lot of people will, just for the sake of bragging rights, get a bit snobby about, this console's got a slightly better graphics and stuff.
The problem comes in where lately, I'd say over the last 5 years or so, maybe a bit longer, I guess since the Xbox 360 and PS3 came out, graphics have been dragged upon so highly, and games have been sold and marketed around the graphical design over the game instead of the gameplay. And the gamers coming in at that sort of time seem to just think that graphics all that matter. Yeah. Like, people that were 13 when Call of Duty came out, and they've played Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2 came out, it was the same game except better graphics. And they're like, oh well, this game has better graphics, therefore it's better. Yeah. And that's all they care about now. Whereas older people in their, say, mid-20s now, can appreciate a game for what it is. Like, I have friends that still play GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64 because it was an amazing game. They don't care that the graphics are all dull and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I mean, the HD remake of Perfect Dark came out. That wasn't that much updated as it goes. It was just smoothed out. It's still blocky as fuck, but I mean, it still plays phenomenally. I love that game. But I mean, at the end of the day, right, you got a great game, but sometimes a graphical experience can make it, I mean, let's not take it away, let's go to the other side. Sometimes graphics can make a game feel richer. Like, I mean, Skyrim, as much as I'm not a massive fan of the games, the games are good, but sometimes you look at the graphics when you're on top of a mountain, you look down over the world, and it looks fantastic, and you just sort of like, you get taken back by it. Same with Tomb Raider. There's one point where you're climbing up telegraph pole basically, and you get to the top of it and it looks out over the mountains. It looks phenomenal, and it does add to the game sometimes, but at the same time, it shouldn't really be the main priority of a game. If you look, case in point, Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yes. Just when a game, it bothers me when a game has obviously lacked on gameplay or open worlds or something to improve graphics. Now, obviously, Skyrim is not where I'm going, because their open world is huge.
It's massive.
But like, I'm trying to think of a game now that has an amazing graphic. It's when a game has unneedingly good graphics and they've sacrificed gameplay or open world or experience just to have those graphics. That's when it's getting a bit silly, and a lot of games are doing that. Okay, Call of Duty is the perfect example. They haven't really enhanced any of their games. All they've done is add graphics from one game to the next.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know if you guys ever really saw Rage or played Rage.
Yes.
I
saw about its graphics problems and such.
I was going to buy it.
The game
it's on sale this weekend.
I got it for £5 a little while ago. Then I also got a free copy, which I've been lending around to friends. But the game looks amazing. It has some like glitches because it looks like they've taken too much time. But the game itself, as good as it could have been, was quite lacking. It's underrated. It's a good tech demo for id Tech engines, but I mean, it's not much other than that at the moment. So it feels a bit like, I mean, if they were to do a Rage 2, I reckon they could still use that engine and create a fuller game. I feel like maybe that was a tech demo for Doom 4.
Yeah, it could have been. I remember everyone saying it's so weird that they were still using an albeit updated version of that engine to make things, but
I think that they came out afterwards saying that the next engine that they're going to come out with will be for Doom 4. So their debut for that will be Doom 4. So I quite look forward to seeing what that's like, because Doom 3 was a strangely good. It's like I didn't quite expect it to be that good, considering how far after Doom 2 it was, or Final Doom that it was, and it was surprised. It surprised me quite a lot.
Yeah, I never really played much of maybe it's because I'm a couple of years younger than you guys, but I never really played much of the Doom games.
I'm honestly not much of a fan. I just dislike the games themselves. They're not my thing.
Well, someone needs to teach you tasting games, motherfucker.
Yeah, whatever.
He got you.
I don't hate on people that like them.
No,
I don't hate on their games. I just don't like them myself.
Yeah, similar to me in Skyrim. I mean, I own the game. I've played it through occasionally, but I don't feel like it's my kind of game. It's a fun game to play when you've got like spare hours, but it's just not something I can get into for like weeks on end.
Kind of going back with both Skyrim and the graphics thing. The jump between Fallout 3 / New Vegas and Skyrim makes all the difference in terms of, oh my god, I'm in a giant open world, and oh my god, those textures over there haven't loaded in about a mile away.
Yeah.
That's what you get with Fallout 3. Like, going back and playing, I still enjoy it, but playing Skyrim and then playing Fallout 3, the difference in the graphics between whatever engine they were on before and their creation engine thing they have now is quite strange to see.
I look forward to seeing, because I mean, I'm more of a Fallout than I am an Elder Scrolls guy. As much as I know that a lot of Fallout was taken from Elder Scrolls, I just feel like it was, obviously I'm more of a gun kind of guy rather than magic and swords and stuff, and it's just one of those things that I really enjoyed. But I look forward to seeing what they do with, because I mean the next Fallout should be on the next gen, theoretically.
I hope so. I hope they bring out another one, because there was a thing a while back about the voice actor for Three Dogs saying he might be involved in some stuff, but then he said he didn't. But it was a bit suspicious. I'd love to see a Fallout 4.
Yeah, what I'd love to see is a Fallout that goes backwards in graphics a little bit. Like, it's a really, really good open world game, but it goes back to like the Fallout 1 graphics type, like really old school, sort of textured, and goes back to the old style. Because I mean, with Fallout, when I played Fallout 2, I remember one of the more standout features was the fact you could get married in the game, and then if you were poor, you could pimp out your wife.
But that feature needs to be in more games.
That
like,
feature needs.
You're
to
in
be
the middle of a mission in Call of Duty, and it's like, here's your payday. It's like, what for? Oh yeah, my wife, right?
Yeah.
That,
Oh yeah. By the way, your wife now has hepatitis. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. I don't get a treat. No.
That'd be a great little micromanaging thing you have to do between missions, and it would reflect the views of most of the 13-year-olds on Xbox Live that insult everybody's mothers. So it's win-win, really.
I know, right? I mean, there's cater for every party here. I mean, I'm Bethesda. If you're looking for a team to write your new Fallout, we're here.
Yeah, we're here. For God's sake, don't pick us. We will destroy it. I mean, no. Good things.
Good things. Pimp out your wife. I mean, yes, in the game, not in real life.
We will not sell your wife for a camel. I promise.
Be fair. She could be hot. 2 camels in a goat.
Oh.
Let's not judge before we know.
Yeah, it's true. We got to sort of, interview her first. Find out her worth.
Interview her. In air quotes.
Yeah.
Interview.
We need to give her a thorough
interrogation. We should definitely move on.
A little off topic.
Yeah. But I mean, with the graphically, I don't think we should push it too much further, because if we push it too much further, then we're going to start blurring the lines between realism and not realism.
And then we'll be in the Matrix, and nobody wants that.
Exactly.
That's the thing, though. A lot of younger gamers in this day and age want realism.
Yeah, but they also play Call of Duty.
Gameplay as much as graphics. Graphics can aid him. Like another good example is Far Cry, in terms of like open world games that have really got a lot to immerse you. The graphics just completes the immersion. Whereas if it's a game where it's like, oh, this is Call of Duty, I'm run around, die, respawn, run around, die, respawn. It's not particularly immersive.
Yeah.
So it's not a big continuous flying experience. So the graphics don't matter as much. It's kind of like polishing a extremely loved and well played turd. You don't need to.
I'm with you completely. It's just that, my argument was that to up and coming gamers now, they do, which is why I reckon they're going to be focused on so highly with the upcoming consoles and the upcoming games.
Yeah.
Look at Call of Duty. Oh, you can see the hair on your arms. I don't give a shit. If I'm looking down a barrel of a gun, I'm not looking at the hair on my arm. I'm looking at the guy's face I'm about to blow up.
I don't know. I'm particularly proud of the hair on my arm.
I would be extremely impressed if they somehow got Tress effects on every single hair. That was a great feature that just was never ever needed. Tress effects in Tomb Raider. It's like only for AMD graphics cards. Oh, it's lucky I have an AMD graphics card. What does it do? It makes your hair behave like it's a possessed tentacle monster. Well, this is realistic. It's just like Lara sneezes and then like all her hair goes flying off in different directions and starts trying to strangle you and punch like members of local wildlife. It's like,
I want to see a montage video of this.
It's just like, I'm just going to turn this option.
Slow-mo in everything.
Yeah, just deers flying into the distance.
They're going to add for Tomb Raider 2 as an option that every time you move, your hair will jump all over the place, and it will play a jingle from a well-known localized shampoo commercial.
Just it's
because you're worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that does seem a bit extreme. Is that pushing it too far? I mean, because obviously, the thing I've always loved with physics engines is when they go completely wrong.
Yeah.
But because it shows to me that you don't need to have that much physics in a game.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think it was kind of experimental, but also it's oddly specific. I sometimes look at in certain games the way a character moves and their hair doesn't move. I'm like, that looks kind of weird. But I wouldn't want a whole developed physics engine just for hair. That's going way too far off the other end of the scale.
Yeah, it does seem a bit extreme. Just with that sort of thing, it makes it interesting. Like, I suppose this again. It's like I say, it's like a tech demo. It's like, yes, this is what we can do, and I'm like, that's fantastic. Can I play the game without it?
Yeah, we can make your hair into Cthulhu.
Yes, exactly.
Now you can turn this option off and play the game normally because it's stupid.
It's like we play as Lara's evil twin sister, Medusa Croft.
Oh, that would be great.
Every time you look at someone, it's like, "Rah!" and it's just everybody freezes and turns into stone. Make the game a bit too easy, though.
Yeah, another thing I'd be impressed by is if they make every time the hair moves, it also shoots out a rainbow laser, each individual hair. Because then you'd just be running through a tomb and it'd be like you've got a fucking disco ball on your head.
Sounds fantastic.
And maybe each boot has a little thing that plays music when it hits the ground, so it's like disco ball going while you run through a tomb. See that? I would pay for that shit. I'd buy at least 7 copies of those and then sell them all.
Someone needs to create a mod of this. I think we've come up with a new mod every time we've done a podcast.
Yeah, every podcast we seem to end up with a section where we come up with something the gaming world sorely needs.
Or we should do, like, you remember in the old Tomb Raiders where you had to press a button to grab onto a ledge. You had to jump and then press X again to try and grab onto a ledge. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should do that, but they should just freeze frame, and if you press X again, she just turns into Superman.
What?
Oh, God.
Because she always sort of sticks her hands out and her legs out in like a straightforward motion, and just she looks like she's trying to do a Superman thing. So one day she should do it and just take off and be like, "Yes, I knew it'd happen one day."
It'd be like a really specific thing. Like if you accidentally double press it, she just goes flying through into the roof of the tomb and kills herself.
Yeah, it's just
Goes up at 100 miles an hour, and you have to restart from the last checkpoint.
It would definitely help me understand how she has enough power in her fucking fingers and wrists to just tilt her entire body into a handstand position.
Yeah.
She's from the original ones, she's just a hardened Tomb Raider. But in the new ones, I don't quite understand. Is she a gymnast or what?
I don't know.
That's never really explained.
No, that's one thing that's always bothered me about Lara Croft. Like, no matter how many origins they've done, 2. Okay, fair enough. But I mean, that's how many times they've done it. It doesn't seem like they've ever really like elaborated on her past, apart from the fact that her dad and her mum went missing, or like went missing or something like that. And, like, they thought they were dead, but they're not really dead or something. They're in fucking the Norse hell that is Helheim or something.
There's not enough lore.
I think that's because most of the time it was focused on gameplay and triangle boobs rather than any kind of story at all.
Hey, you could ice climb with those things.
Yeah, you probably could.
Anyway.
She just does the worm up a cliff,
Yeah.
and that gets her on.
You know what? The thing that bothers me the most, right, is the fact that for every single Tomb Raider recently, there's been, well, not every single Tomb Raider ever, there's always been like a nude mod. And it's just like, the graphics are so terrible that it doesn't even make sense that you were to have it. Why would you do it?
I don't know. The same
because
reason.
13-year-old kids.
Yes, exactly.
Because 13-year-old kids want to look at pyramid boobs.
Yes, exactly that.
God damn it.
We've all been there.
But
let's ask a 13-year-old kid, why is it he likes pyramid boobs?
No, but at the end of the day, right, it's a case of, that means there's some adult who has programming knowledge who made this mod to attract 13-year-old kids to his mod page.
Well, think about it. The Sims 1 had fucking...
Had
fucking, did it? I don't remember that.
That was a different game, Wayne.
It had, yeah, I know, but it's like the graphics were worse. And it had mods that took away the filters. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Why do that?
Conclusion, people are stupid.
People like to see naked people, even if they're not anatomically correct.
Yeah. Well, 13-year-old kids don't know what real boobs look like, so they probably think they're all a bit triangle-shaped anyway.
I don't know, most of them are parents in this day and age.
Yeah, that's true. And now I'm sad.
Yeah, and now life has become bleak. I don't want to carry on anymore.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah,
Anyway, we should talk about more GTA.
We should talk
I
about
have a question to start that with.
Okay.
What is everybody here's favourite Grand Theft Auto game?
Vice City.
Vice City.
Ooh. See, I don't know, genuinely, even though I asked the question.
Really?
Because I loved Vice City, but San Andreas had some great stuff in it too. And you didn't die when you went in the water, which was a plus.
Yeah. I mean, San Andreas was good because it had, that expansion of the character, because in Vice City it was just you with this character. He had all the attributes he had, and that was it. With San Andreas, you could make that character your own. I loved that. But it's just Vice City had that Grand Theft Auto charm to it, where it was ridiculous. It was the last overly ridiculous Grand Theft Auto game.
Yep.
And
after that, they started veering away from what Grand Theft Auto has always been.
I don't know, San Andreas did kind of capture that, but
San Andreas was pretty ridiculous. You could fly around as a fat black guy with an afro and a jetpack, I mean.
Yeah, it had all that, don't get me wrong, it was fantastic. But like with the Ballad of Gay Tony sort of thing, where you could just, everything just looked so, like,
gay.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just Vice City was such a camp game, it just felt like such a great, it was such fun. Like, it didn't never take itself seriously in any aspect and that sort of thing. But the only problem is when I try and boot it up on my PC now, the controllers aren't supported by it, and it all goes really wrong. And I've done an entire playthrough where my character has been sitting next to the bike that he's riding.
What?
Yeah. And so I don't think it holds up quite as well today. I'd love to see an update to Vice City. Not the game, but just the world. I mean, they're doing Los Santos now, aren't they? So.
Yeah, for GTA 5, which, could be good, because it was a decent map.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. San Andreas had everything that I wanted Vice City to be, like the extras I wanted in it, but it just didn't feel right to me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
it does. So it was still a great game.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game. I haven't found one GTA game that I haven't liked in some way or another. I mean, the original Grand Theft Auto has just had that.
GTA London was quite awful.
Oh, that was fantastic. I loved that.
I never played that. I didn't want to.
Don't.
I had the version that you had to have GTA, the original GTA, to play, because what you had to do, you had to put in the GTA London disc, and then you'd have to put in the normal GTA disc. Because
get all the assets.
Basically, yeah, it was an asset mod, basically. So the disc just had all the things on it, like the changing of the textures. So, that was an interesting thing.
Yeah. I think my least favourite from the ones I played more, I couldn't get into 4 in single player. Multiplayer was great. Multiplayer is amazing for messing about, doing some free roam, some of the objective modes, whatever. Yeah. But single player, I just personally couldn't get into at all. I don't know whether it's too gritty and serious.
Brucey annoyed me and then I quit.
He was annoying.
I've played through the entire GTA 4.
Have you?
And it's just not the same. Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I kind of just wanted to finish, because I've finished like every GTA game that's ever been released. And I don't know, it felt completely different. Like, the play style feels completely different. Which annoyed me in general.
I think that's a little bit why I enjoyed Saints Row the Third when it came out, was because GTA 4 tried to go all serious American Dream is over type, dull, gritty thing, but then Saints Row the Third just sort of went, yeah, well, let's go the other way.
And then Saints Row 4 came out, which is Saints Row 3.
Yeah, sort of.
It's Saints Row 3 prototype mod.
Yeah, basically. And you know what? I really
Which they were releasing for Saints... It's basically a mod that they was releasing for Saints Row 3 in the first place.
To get this straight, I will defend Saints Row here. Saints Row the Third had a DLC thing, like a separate expansion that was going to come on a disc called Enter the Dominatrix, which partially was incorporated into Saints Row 4, but the last DLC for Saints Row the Third also had them with superpowers, where you could run at high speed and jump really high. The only thing that Saints Row 4 doesn't have, that the DLC did, was you could basically Hadouken. I'm guessing that's for some form of copyright reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what they called it, but so the thing that bothers me the most with that is that they're actually releasing the rest of Enter the Dominatrix as an expansion to Saints Row 4. So they released half of the Enter the Dominatrix thing with the story of Saints Row 4, and then they're gonna add the DLC as that should have been released to the 3rd onto 4. That's the only thing that bothers me. That makes any sense. I'm talking gibberish now.
It just feels like it seems like a giant DLC for Saints Row 3. It's not even. It's like the exact same map and everything.
Yeah, there are some minor differences, but I mean, there's not much difference. It feels like it feels like it took a year to make, and it did. So I mean,
yeah, it's kind of a bit like how Assassin's Creed have been going, where not much changes really with the last few anyway, between 2, Brotherhood and Revelations, all that.
It seems that the developers just can't be bothered anymore in some of these games.
With Saints Row, again, it just seems like because THQ went bankrupt and Deep Silver got hold of it, and they were just like, finish the game now, and that's it, that's over. They've said that Deep Silver said that after this one they're not carrying on with Saints Row, so they just wanted it to go out with something ridiculous, so they just gave them all superpowers.
Yeah, it was kind of a quick buck off something they bought.
Yeah,
it wasn't theirs, so they didn't feel like they owned it, and they just wanted to get rid of what they had.
Exactly. So I'm happy that they did that, but at the same time, I don't think it should have been a full title. I didn't pay full price for it, so I don't feel so robbed. But I mean, at the same time, other people are going to pay full price for it and be like, this is basically Saints Row 3. So.
Yeah, I don't know why, but with Saints Row 3, I enjoy that game, but if I play it for more than half an hour at a time, I just get overwhelmed by all the stuff it keeps asking me to do, and then kind of go, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, Saints Row 4 does a similar thing. Like, as soon as you do a story mission, they throw 6 side missions at you at the same time. And it's just a bit like, well, that's a bit extra.
Yeah, that's one thing I kind of had to admire GTA 4 with. There were so many random things to do, but they didn't bludgeon you over the head with it.
No, some of the stuff you don't find until later anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Although, the other side to that was, I think where I stopped playing is where I got some kind of moral choice, and I was like, okay, these are in the game, you didn't say they were going to be. And also, it was a fair few hours into the game and there were still tutorials for things, and I don't really like that.
Yeah.
I'm still saying you should do this, and this will affect this in the story, and this, and this.
Or at least it isn't a game that has a 10, 11 hour, 12 hour tutorial.
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna name it because it makes me sick. Final Fantasy 13. The first 2 discs on Xbox 360 were basically tutorials.
Yep.
Wow.
And you got to the 3rd disc, and the 3rd disc was 3 times as long as one of the discs on the original, like the tutorial disc, basically, because it was free roam. The world opened up when you got to the 3rd disc, which basically meant the last 2 fucking discs were you learning how to play the game, and hear the second half of the game, or the second and third of the game as fucking free roam. And you know what, the game, I can't fault the fact I loved the battle system. The battle system was fantastic. The story could have been amazing, but the tutorials were just too much.
Well, the biggest thing that bothered me in that game is that when I sat through the, as you say, tutorial, essentially, for 2 discs, I got to the 3rd disc, and one of the first things I have to do is do something for one of the most useless characters in the entire game, and he has to be in my party, and I just cannot be bothered to even try hard enough to get past it. So I never got to the free roam. I'm just before the free roam. I sat there for like 13, 14 hours for nothing.
That's a bit of a rant there. There you go.
Yeah. But anyway.
That does sound pretty painful, to be honest.
Have you not played it?
No, I've never played a Final Fantasy game, ever.
Get out.
No.
No.
I've had a strange and bastardized gaming history, but I like where I am today, so.
I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy, if you don't play it, in my opinion, you're not missing out on too much. You should play them because it's one of those games that seems like it's influenced a lot of RPGs in the last 20 years, but it's not one that I'd say has an effect that it used to.
Final Fantasy is probably one of my favourite RPG series of all time. Just like older, like not 13 so much. Sorry, 13 definitely not. 12. Was it 12? Yeah. 12 was just awful. Jesus Christ.
11 was an MMO.
Yeah. 10 and 10-2. I liked 10 and 10-2.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they were great games.
A lot of people
10 was probably
didn't
my favourite. Yeah. A lot of people will say 7's their favourite, or 9, but 10 definitely for me.
Yeah, just, I mean, there are plenty of RPGs out there that are more relevant than those sort of games, but I mean, Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, and 9 probably did influence a lot of RPGs that are around today.
Definitely, yes.
To be honest, one of the most influential RPGs I can think of off the top of my head, other than Final Fantasy, is Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, there's a lot of split opinion on Final Fantasy games, I think. So.
Yeah, I think for me it's one of those things that I missed. I missed it when I was younger, and I just missed it by so much, and I completely missed it that it just seems like there's no point in me going back and trying. I feel absolutely no need. I get that everyone says it's a good game and stuff, but I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
No, if I was to go and play 7 now, I don't know if I'd enjoy it. I think, if I had never played it before. So if you were to go back and play 7, I don't think you'd enjoy it. So the reason I enjoy playing the older games, 7, 8 and 9, 6, even 5, is because of the nostalgia value that I have with them.
I mean, I had 7 on my PS3, and I do play it every now and then, but I haven't got to a point where the nostalgia value has become too much that the game loses magic. I mean, the game is good. But you can sort of feel that things aren't. The graphics to me is still fantastic. I love like they have like block hands, they have stomps. It's amazing. But I mean, yeah, I'd recommend playing a Final Fantasy game once in your life. I mean,
just do not buy 7 on Steam. Just do not do that, or we will not be friends anymore.
But just because
I can live without you. I mean, I won't buy it.
Yeah. Is it because you can buy stat boosters?
It's because they've completely ruined it. With that.
With an optional stat boost purchase.
Yes.
That's optional.
I don't give a shit. It shouldn't be optional. It should just not be there.
It's for people who don't want to grind, for those who are too lazy.
I don't care. If you don't want to grind, then you don't deserve the experience.
It's true, you don't really deserve to play an RPG if you don't want to grind. Everybody loves to grind.
It does happen on
RPGs. Every single RPG will bitch and complain about the grinds, but if you ask them if they would have ever done it differently, they'll always tell you no.
Yeah, the only thing they do differently is they go to the next dungeon because they know they're now powerful enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of people like to complain about things. It's like, you know what makes me laugh the most is that a lot of people complain about the dashboard to Xbox. And how it makes me annoyed because at the end of the day, all it is a hub for you to start up games. Get over it.
Oh, damn.
Shit.
And it's my opinion. Fuck you.
Yeah. And it bothers me the most when people go to you, don't you remember the Blades? And I'm just like, I remember the Blades, and they were fun, but at the end of the day, I don't think they quite catered for what Xbox wants to do now, so it doesn't really matter.
No, it's a big media hub. Essentially, Xbox One is a huge media hub that plays games. That's how they marketed it.
Yes, the Xbox One is exactly that, and they pride themselves on that. And you know what? I think that good luck to them because at the end of the day, they're not hiding what they are. So,
and it's they're not going to be competing. It's their USP. They're definitely not going to be competing with the PS4 on that level.
Yeah, that's the thing is that they're saying that they're competing. Sure, they're competing in the games market, but at the end of the day, Xbox is also reaching out to an entirely different market as well.
I reckon it's much more for the family sort of.
Yeah, it's almost exactly that, and it's nice to know that the things are evolving. That's what I saw when I first saw the Xbox in all its always online game sharing, everything glory. To me, I saw that and I thought this minus a couple of things is progress.
Yeah, they're kind of making it even more of a viable alternative to PCs, like how you'll have the family PC and everybody's got all their music and stuff on it.
Yeah.
With this new Xbox especially, you can do that now. You can all watch your Netflix and whatever bollocks through it and subscribe to this and subscribe to that and use these kind of things. So they're kind of pushing it very much as a family alternative of, dad gets one and everybody can use it kind of thing, like as a household item, not just for, the kids have one and that's it. Like, they want everyone to use it and use all the services.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the always online thing was always going to be up in the air. There's always going to be debate about that. But I always felt that after they got rid of a lot of their things, like they got rid of a lot of their selling points, I feel like they basically took a lot of steps back. I just feel like they took steps, and it doesn't feel like it's much different to what it used to be. But I know full well that in time, the Xbox will end up re-implementing a lot of those things anyway, including maybe even the online thing. Because with Forza, it's asynchronous multiplayer, so you download ghosts from other people and you can race against them and stuff like that. So I feel like that even if the console is not always online, the games will be. And like Titanfall is going to have a similar idea, and Destiny is an always online playground that changes depending on. So, they've taken away that, this is always online thing, but all the games do it anyway. So what difference does it make to them?
Yeah, they may eventually, when there's so many games out, like when sort of 90% plus of the games on there all have that kind of feature, people will go, oh, well, it might be easier, and if we have always online, and Xbox will go, told you, and slap it back in. And be like, well, that's sorted. But it depends, like, after, we're going to see the first wave of games, which are all, some of which are going to be that, look, this is the latest in a series, and some will be, look at this tech demo-y thing.
I was listening to a podcast the other day that pointed out something quite true. This group of launch games is probably the best set of launch games that we've seen, because if you look at it, when you go look at the PS2 things, you had like Airblade and things like that. Games that basically just showed minimal tech of what the PS2 can do. Like the graphics were better than the PS1, but they weren't fantastic compared to how it ended up on at the end of the life and things like that. And so this time the only game that really seems like this is a launch title type game is Rise. And if we don't see that now, do you reckon we'll see that like at the end of the console life? We'll look back at, say, Watch Dogs and be like, oh, look how primitive that was back then.
I don't know, it depends, because, again, launching a kind of new IP on a console can go either way. Like, if you think about, it's not exactly a new IP as such, because it wasn't an amazingly groundbreaking game, but Zombie U on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty much the only thing anyone talked about, because it's the only thing that was any good. Yeah. Like, they want it to stand out, but they also probably want it to be the basis for a franchise and stuff. Whereas, I suppose Zombie U is a bit more of a tech demo of how to actually do a game on Wii U.
The only problem with Zombie U, I think, was that it became quite repetitive after a while. A lot of people had qualms that every time you do something, it ends up like you're doing constant fetch quests or constant go from here to here, do this, kill a certain amount of zombies type thing.
Yeah.
And it just but it's the beginning of a timeline of a console. It's not like you can expect miracles,
no. I see what you mean, but I mean, it's kind of surprising how many decent-looking, well-rounded IPs they have for the start of these generations, because we've obviously known for at least a couple of years, if not more, that these consoles are going to get outclassed by something new soon. So It looks, maybe not in terms of Rise, which doesn't look amazing to me, but in terms of a lot of other things, it looks like they've been working on, Watch Dogs and stuff like that for a decent time. So it won't just be a quick rush out for the next gen. It's we've been developing this for quite a few years. We'll time it with that.
It actually feels like the companies gave the developers time to actually work. It's like they gave them the development kit and went, we're going to announce this in a year and a half, 2 years. Come up with something to begin with, and then you've got another year after that anyway.
Yeah, so that's what seems to happen a lot. But thankfully, with some of the stuff at least, they don't seem to have done that.
I'm interested in seeing what goes on with that. I mean, the only thing I'm worried about is hard drive space.
Yeah, that's
hardware. So hardware seems to be my biggest worry because 500 gigabytes, yeah, it's a lot, but when you think about it in terms of on the Xbox 360, the DLC for we discussed it before, the Battlefield 3, including updates, server esports server thing, and all of the DLC, it's almost 25-30 gigs of space. So you can only imagine what it's going to be on the PS4 and Xbox 3, on Xbox One, sorry.
That's like 7% of your 500 gigs.
Exactly. So yeah, I worry that the digitizing of games and the upping in space of the DLC and that is going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's one thing that confused me when I was thinking about buying both a PS3 and a PS Vita at some point. Because it's like, well, with the Vita, it's like, okay, everyone complains about the memory cards, they're kind of expensive. Oh, they are kind of expensive. Maybe I'll get the smallest one. But wait, how much are like my PlayStation Network downloads going to cost? Because this free game is a download, not a physical copy. And with the PS3, they've got the slim versions that are a lot cheaper and have a smaller hard drive. But a lot of people have been saying, no, don't go for that one. You need the space.
Yeah.
It's never really explained anywhere, like in terms of scale. Like, oh, this has got a 500 gig hard drive, and that will be more than enough. Or this has got 120 gig. That should be enough. But if you put a lot of multimedia, then you might struggle.
Yeah, and they haven't got any support for external storage at launch either. So it's going to be a bit of an issue. Yeah. Well,
see, that would fix it. That's what they'd need to fix it.
I think
storage.
They're planning to patch it in. They're definitely planning to patch it in. They said, both companies have said they plan to have external storage in there eventually. But it just feels like, it didn't have exactly what they wanted to begin. They wanted it for launch, so they just didn't put it in. They haven't got the support proper, basically. Because I mean, with external storage on the Xbox 360, you can only have a maximum of 16 gigabytes on a pen drive. And if you've got a 32 gigabyte pen drive, it'll partition half of it for usage. So yeah, I think that point we should end, guys. This has been an interesting chat about generally everything, a little bit more serious than the last one. We'd like to hear other people's opinions. So if anybody's listening, we'd like to hear some feedback on it. I just want to give a shout out to Art47 who does all of our pictures because he's been working really hard for us over the last few days, and I'd like to give him a shout out. We'll stick a link to his work on our in the description.
He is beautiful and amazing, and we love him very, very much in many inappropriate ways.
Yes, he's a desirable man.
A beautiful, beautiful man.
If he's listening, he's going to be so sad right now.
He's going to be happy.
He's going to have the biggest smile on his face. But just give a shout out to him. We'll stick a link in the description because, I mean, a lot of his art, while we've been doing this podcast, he's been sending me emails with extra pictures as well. So, he's been working with us quite heavily. And, I'd like to end by giving him a shout out. You guys want to say anything else?
I would just like to make sure that everybody knows Wayne is a hoe. That's about it.
Okay. Wayne, would you like to retort with a statement?
I would, but there's just no point.
There's no point because
there really isn't. No.
There's no point because it's true.
It's not, but I just can't be bothered anymore.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I just said it was a
part of me. So sure, whatever.
Anyway, guys.
Very nice.
Anyway, guys, thank you for listening, and good night.
Good day, people. No, okay. Fuck. Balls. 108. That's not bad.
My Warframe is at 21 hours.
Wayne, why are you not Rochelle?
Oh, yeah, we can choose a character.
There's a point. Why aren't you Rochelle?
Why should I be Rochelle?
Because
we decided while you weren't here that you were going to be Rochelle.
Yeah.
Well,
and then you joined as Rochelle and it was glorious.
God damn it.
Are you really that homophobic? I'll be Rochelle if you really need me.
No, I don't. Homophobic? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Wayne, do you know what words mean?
Are we recording, by the way, or not?
I am, personally, now.
Do you want me to
We
record?
could probably record from one or two.
Yeah, let's just do one because the editing will
Yeah.
be large.
Oh, okay.
You're large, you fucking high.
I know I am. How do you know I am?
Yeah, this is getting weird. Thing is, I'm recording. You know I load slower than everybody else in this fucking game.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because you're a woman in game and women take fucking forever to do anything.
Yeah.
Guys, he's a gamer girl. Give him attention.
Look at me.
I don't want to.
Look, he plays
go-
Nintendogs.
I'm gonna play this entire game now with a female voice.
Oh
It's gonna
god.
be the
your
worst
normal
voice
voice?
as well.
They're funny.
Oh god. That just sounds like bloody Herbert the pervert from
That
Family
is
Guy.
terrifying.
Hey there, children.
You guys want my sticky boomer ball?
Oh my god.
Hey, I got some candy in my pocket.
You want to reach in there and grab it?
I can't keep this up. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The amount of
Fucking
times
hell.
I've heard that this week. I mean, what?
Oh my god.
Oh man, waiting
You
to
thought
load.
it wasn't going to get weirder, but then Tom.
That's a joke. Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Wayne, you're a terrible host. That took ages to load.
You down there.
Oh really? My frame
Wait.
rate is suffering.
Turn
What is
this
wrong with me?
out.
Really? Because I've got 200 plus. Wayne.